Welcome back to another episode of Resining of the Living Dead. Today we are going to be making this 14-ounce bowl mold that came from Temu. We are going to do something slightly different this time, and we are going to be using these resin hole makers to turn this into a planter so that it has some drainage holes in it. Again, this came from Amazon, and you'll see that there are a number of different sizes, and what they do is they just suction onto the base however you want them, and then when we pour, after it cures, they'll pop out and you'll just be left with the holes. So what we are going to do is we are going to do 4 holes, 1 in each of the quadrants, so it makes it a little bit easier than trying to figure out where they are going to be. 4th of July is on its way, so we're going to do a red, white, and blue planter. We are going to be using small tongue mica powders in brilliant blue and flake white, and then we have this reddish nail dip that we used in one of our other pours, and it came out really nice, so we're going to use that for the red. We will be using some glue, clear glue, in each of the cups, and it's about 14 ounces. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our resin ready to go and mixed up, and then we will add the colors and the glue when we return on camera, and then we will do our pour with the hole makers. So I will be right back. We are back. We have gone ahead and mixed up our resin. We've got 14 ounces of it made. We have poured a little bit of the mica powder, the white, the red, and the blue, and what we're going to do is we're going to take our isopropyl alcohol and we're going to pour a little bit of the isopropyl alcohol into each of the cups, and then we are going to give it a little swirl, and that's going to dissolve up the mica powder so that we don't have any bits and pieces in there. And you'll see in just a second how well that does. It gives it a nice swirl, mixes it really nicely, and then we will pour that into our cups of resin in a moment. So you can see there's our red, there's our white, and you can see there's a little clumps in there, so we're going to just swirl it around a little bit more, maybe add just a touch more of the alcohol, rubbing alcohol, or isopropyl alcohol. We just don't want to get any clumps. And that looks good. And let's check our blue. Our blue looks great. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to divvy up our resin. And because we're at 14 ounces total, so divided by 3, we'll do 5, 5, and then the rest. So let's go ahead and get our scale. Going to zero it out, and then we're going to pour 5 ounces. And of course we're getting some bubbles in there now, unfortunately, but we'll be okay, I think. That's good. That's 4.5. And we're just trying to make it a little bit even, but if it's not completely even, it's okay. All right. Power him off. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to add our blue. So we'll add our blue to this cup. And give it a little mix till that color all blends in with our resin. And you can see how pretty that is. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give it just a couple drops, or not. Glue kind of hardened from last time we used it, but let's go. 1, 2, 3, should be good. We'll mix that up until it's a nice thick paste. You can already see that it is thickening up. We're going to let that sit for a moment. Give it a quick, we'll give it a dab of that in a minute, and then we're going to use the red for this cup. And I don't know, that's not going to be very dark. We may need to add a little bit more to it. Yeah, this red is a little bit too light, so I'm going to have to grab a little bit of pigment paste for that guy in a second, and then we're going to add the white to our cup. A pretty sparkly white, and a couple drops of glue. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to stir him up till he's thickens up, and you'll see it again. You'll see it on the camera. You'll see how quickly that glue changes the constitution of the resin into being much more thick, because we just don't want it to mix. We want it to swirl, we want it to marble, but we don't want it to blend together, because then it'll just be a single color. Alright, let's set that aside. Let's give our blue one more stir real quick. I'm going to let this set for just a second while I grab a pigment. And this is a Baltic Day pigment paste. And we're going to find the red. And here is bloody red? Nah. How about just a pretty red? Why's it got to be a bloody red? Although, carmine looks like a pretty vibrant red. And we're just going to open this up. And we're going to need just a little bit. And I am, of course, out of my small stick. So let's just use the back end of this. We're just going to get a little bit of red. And we will put it on our popsicle stick. And let's give it a real quick stir and see what that does. If we need to add a little bit more, we'll add a little bit more. And it's still quite clear, so let's find us something a little different. So in our eye candy, there is a flamingo red. That's actually more pink. Let's see. Magma magenta, firebird red, cosmic red. They're more oranges than anything. Let's see if we can find something else real quick, because those are not Those aren't the colors that I like. We also have this Sig Wong epoxy resin colorant, and this is red. Let's see. Let's see how that does. Oh yeah, it's still going to be slightly translucent, but that's okay. And we need to not forget our glue. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we got red, we've got white, we've got blue. So with that, let's bring over our mold, which is our 14-ounce mold, and then we're going to get our hole makers. And we're going to use the mediums, and we're going to use 4 of them. So we're going to put one kind of central on each of the segments, just like that. And those are going to create the holes for our drainage once we start. So now let's pour. So we're going to start with our red. Yep. And one more thing, I almost forgot. We're going to give it a little spritz with our isopropyl alcohol. And I see a little bit of color, and we're going to just get that off with our finger. I think we're good. All right, so now let's pour. I think what we're going to do is kind of like a figure 8. We're going to go around. Well, kind of like a figure 8. And then some white. And then some blue. And sorry for hitting the camera. And back to the red. And then the white. Back to the blue. And then we're just going to continue to alternate with the red, white, and blue as we go along. So and back to the red. I can see it slowly filling up on the sides. And red. This color scheme makes it a lot easier to know which one's next. I love how that white looks when it's mixing, when it's, you know, pushing out the other colors. We are nearing the home stretch. It's really pretty watching those colors just swirl, and again hitting the camera, sorry. And we're nearing our final color pour. We'll probably get one more dose of red. One more little bit of white. Oops. And that's why we wear the gloves, because this is messy. And we got a little bit more red we can get out of here. That's going to do it for our red. See if we have any white left. We got a little bit. And you can see as it's thickening up, I think we're going to be just, it might be a smidgen short. Maybe it was a little bit more than 14. And I keep hitting that camera. I apologize. Gonna have to work on getting that up a little bit higher for next time. Come on. It doesn't want to come off. All right, and do we have any blue left? Can we scratch out any? Yeah, we got a little bit more blue. It didn't quite come up to the top, so I think we're gonna have to, we may have to make a little bit more. just a drop of red. So I think we're going to make a little bit more of the white, maybe about another ounce. Because we're not going to have quite enough to get to the top. So we're going to make another little tiny bit of this. In the meantime, we're going to give it one more little spritz on the top. You'll see those colors really start to dance. So what we're going to do is we are going to mix another ounce and probably make it in white, and then we'll be right back. Back again. We've mixed up about an ounce, a little more than an ounce and a half of some white, and we're just going to go ahead and pour that in there so that we can get this thing capped off closest to the and it will kind of marble in with the other colors. That's much better. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little resin knife, and we're just going to kind of go along the edges just to make sure that we don't have any trapped bubbles. I can see a couple of them in here. I see a couple as we swirl this around a little bit. And we'll just bring that into the middle. Because what we don't want is we don't want any bubbles to be trapped in, because that'll mess things up. Come on, get off. There we go. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to give it one more little bit of a spritz. Then we're going to use our torch over it real quick, and then we will be back in 24 hours to check out the results. So there's that. Here's our little torch. All right, we will see you in 24 hours. Wish us luck. Welcome back. It is time to demold our red, white, and blue bowl. It looks good from the outside. We have our little plugs. So what we're going to do is, I guess we'll start with the plugs. And you see they pop right out, and they left the holes behind. And they would be good for another day. So we'll put it back in the container. All right, let's see what we got. Back around for the next time, and it looks really good. A little thin on the bottom. Probably could have done a little bit of a darker, but the colors swirled nicely. I don't feel any bubbles. Looks really nice. We'll file that down a little bit, and then you can see the holes for the drain. So that would be a nice, pretty planter. This will go up on my Etsy store, and the link will be added to the description. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching this, please hit that like button, and if you'd like to be notified when more videos are released, please click that subscribe button. So until next time, thanks for watching. See you next time.